What's up guys, it's your boy, the Chat Kid, coming back at you with a new video because I actually decided to upload today because I didn't want to be lazy. And today we're going to be doing something quite new. I'm going to be doing a creepypasta reading, which is something I've actually wanted to be doing for a while. Now as you can see, this is not my room, this is my brother's bedroom. I'm just going to have to take advantage of his PC whilst he isn't here. So anyways, I'm going to hit the ground running with a very, very iconic story, that being, you know, Big Man Jeffrey the Killer. And I'm going to actually try and put effort into this reading. However, like, I'm probably not gonna put that much effort. I'm not gonna put in like Mr. Creepypasta levels of effort because, obviously, you know, I'm not Mr. Creepypasta. Like, he is nowhere, I am nowhere near his level of expertise on reading stuff like this. But today, I'm actually gonna put effort into this by having a background track that being forgotten by Repulsive. So go subscribe to them if you really want to listen to their music. All right. Alright, I'm gonna start reading, and let me know how I should improve by like camera wise. Should I like face the camera towards me or the screen, or what should I do? Alright, anyways, let's just forget. I'm gonna turn the camera around now. Never mind, that doesn't work. Alright, never mind guys, that doesn't work, so I'm just gonna keep it on me. Alright, let's go. Alright, hurry up. Yeah, let's go. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remembered being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to go back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I woke up and I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were wadded in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said it in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream, that's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on the top of my bed. I fought him back, I kicked, I punched, I rolled around trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if it wasn't for the neighbours hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that pointed towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes, and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the lookout for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighbourhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighbourhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbours came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbours." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mum, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Lou." They introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done unpacking, Jeff went up to his mum. Mom, why did you invite some kid's birthday party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid. Jeff, said his mother, we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbours. Now, we are going to that party and that's final. Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mum said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there, looking at the ceiling, when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call for him downstairs to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and get ready for school. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but once again he dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped in surprise. Hey, what the hell? The kid landed and turned back to them. He ticked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Well, looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid, had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. He looked over to the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard, this kid looked like he has exercised since he was crawling. And I, said the first kid, I'm Randy. Now, for all the kids in the neighbourhood, there is a small price for bus fare if you catch my drift. Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, and one of his friends pulled a knife on him. I hoped you'd a bit more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh, and what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Ouch. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy in the stomach, and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Lou could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how'd you... was all he said. He saw the bus coming and he knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back to see the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou thought of it as his brother beating up some kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help but feel happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how he probably wasn't going to take the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, it was a wonderful day. Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son. Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou. Son, said one of the cops, we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us? Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say anything. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth to be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. Son, call down your brother. Jeff couldn't do it since it was he who beat up all those kids. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie. Wait, says Lou. They all look up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it. He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Son, just put the knife down, said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Lou, it was me. I did it. Jeff had tears running down his face. Huh, poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away. The police led Lou out to the patrol car. Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those